Get this trash out of my event. Victoria Chen's voice cut through the lobby like a blade. She grabbed Marcus Cole's arm and shoved him backward, her manicured nails digging into his sleeve. His 8-year-old daughter screamed, "Daddy!" Marcus stumbled, catching himself on a marble pillar. Lily's handmade card, glitter and crayon and 3 hours of love, scattered across the floor in pieces. Victoria stepped on it, ground her heel into the construction paper, smiled. "Security, now, before this homeless person contaminates my guests." The waiter went down hard, crystal flutes exploding around him like grenades. Lily screamed again, "Daddy!" Marcus hit the ground next to the waiter, his palm slicing open on broken glass. Blood immediately pooled beneath his hands, red mixing with champagne, pain shooting up his arms. But he didn't feel it. He only saw Lily. His daughter stood frozen 3 feet away, tears streaming down her face, her destroyed card scattered at Victoria Chen's feet. The woman was still grinding her heel into the construction paper, smearing glitter and crayon into meaningless smudges. "Mommy's card," Lily whispered. "You broke Mommy's card." "Your mommy should have taught you not to crash private events." Victoria snapped her fingers at the security guard. "Jerome, do your job, or lose it." Jerome, 6'4", 240 pounds of muscle, looked like he wanted to disappear. His hands shook as he reached for Marcus. "Sir, I'm sorry, but—" "Don't touch my daddy!" Lily threw herself between them, her small body shielding Marcus. "Don't touch him!" "Move the child," Victoria ordered. "Ma'am, I can't move her." The lobby had gone dead silent. 50 people in tuxedos and gowns stood frozen, watching a woman in a $10,000 dress terrorize an 8-year-old girl. No one moved to help. No one said a word. Marcus pushed himself up, glass crunching under his bleeding palms. His gray suit was soaked with champagne. His hands left bloody prints on the marble as he rose. "Lily." His voice was calm. Too calm. "Come here, sweetheart." "But Daddy, your hands." "I'm okay. Come here." Lily ran to him. He pulled her close with his forearms, keeping his bloody palms away from her dress. She buried her face in his chest, sobbing. "You ruined Mommy's card," she cried. "I made it for the kids. I promised Mommy. I promised her before she went to heaven." Victoria rolled her eyes. "Oh, please, the dying mother routine? That's the best you could come up with?" Marcus looked at her. Just looked. Something in his expression made Victoria take a step back. Made Jerome take a step back. Made the nearest guests take a step back. Her mother died 6 months ago. Marcus's voice was quiet, flat, empty of everything except truth. Cancer. Ovarian. Stage 4 by the time they caught it. She spent her last 3 weeks in hospice, unable to eat, unable to sleep, barely able to breathe. But she made our daughter promise to help the children, to never stop helping the children. He pointed at the destroyed card on the floor. That was Lily's promise. 3 hours of work, construction paper and glitter glue, and every crayon in the box. She was going to give it to the foundation tonight. The Sarah Cole Foundation, named after her mother. Victoria's face flickered. "Sarah Cole? That's my wife." The words landed like bombs. Victoria's mouth opened, closed, opened again. "That's impossible. The founder's wife died, but nobody knows what he looks like. He stepped back years ago. He's supposed to be—" "What?" Marcus asked softly. "Rich? Powerful? Well-dressed?" "Yes." "I was. Before my wife got sick. Before I spent 2 years watching her die. Before I stopped caring about suits and galas and what people like you think of me." Marcus held Lily tighter. "I'm Marcus Cole. I built Cole Enterprises from nothing. I created the foundation you're supposedly celebrating tonight, and you just assaulted me in front of 50 witnesses." Victoria's face went white. Not pale, white, like all the blood had drained out of her body at once. You can't. There's no way." "Check your phone. Google my name. I'll wait." Victoria's hands trembled as she pulled out her iPhone. Her fingers could barely work the screen. She typed, waited, stared. The phone slipped from her fingers and cracked on the marble floor. "Oh, God. There it is. Oh, God, oh, God, oh, God." "Feeling sick?" Marcus asked. "Imagine how I felt. On the floor, bleeding, watching you destroy my daughter's last connection to her dead mother." "I didn't know. You didn't care." The words exploded out of Marcus. 6 months of grief. 6 months of holding it together. 6 months of being strong for Lily. Of not crying in front of her. Of pretending Daddy was okay when Daddy was dying inside. It all came out in those 3 words. "You looked at me and saw garbage. You looked at my daughter and saw an obstacle. You didn't ask who we were. You didn't ask why we were here. You just decided we were beneath you and acted accordingly." He stepped toward Victoria. She stumbled backward. "That's who you are. That's what you showed the world tonight. Not a CEO. Not a leader. Just a bully in expensive shoes who gets off on hurting people who can't fight back." "Mr. Cole, Marcus, please." "Please what?" "Please don't. I need this job. I have—" "You have what? A mortgage? Student loans? Aging parents?" Marcus laughed bitterly. "Welcome to the real world, Victoria. The world where most people live. The world you've clearly never visited." "I'll apologize. Publicly. You'll what? Unshove me? Unbreak the glass? Undestroy my daughter's card?" Victoria started crying. Marcus felt nothing. "Save your tears," he said. "You'll need them." He turned to Jerome, who looked ready to pass out from stress. "You tried to do the right thing. I saw it. You hesitated when she told you to grab my daughter. That took courage." "Sir, You're not in trouble. She is." Marcus looked around the lobby. 50 faces stared back at him. 50 phones were recording. 50 witnesses had watched Victoria Chen assault the founder of the company she ran. Everyone here saw what happened tonight. Everyone here watched this woman attack a grieving widower and his orphaned daughter. Everyone here did nothing. Shame rippled through the crowd. "I don't blame you," Marcus continued. "She's powerful. You're not. That's how people like her survive, by making everyone around them too scared to speak up." He looked at Victoria again. She was on her knees now, mascara running down her face, designer gown soaking up champagne from the floor. "But I'm not scared. I own this company. I own this building. I own the foundation whose name is on every banner in that ballroom. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to find out exactly what's been happening while I was gone." Victoria's head snapped up. Fear replaced tears. "What do you mean?" "I mean, I trusted you to run my company with integrity. I trusted you to honor my wife's legacy. And tonight, I watched you assault a man for the crime of wearing a cheap suit." Marcus's voice hardened. "What else have you done that I don't know about?" "Nothing, I swear." "We'll see." Marcus looked down at Lily. His daughter had stopped crying, but she was shaking, her face pressed against his champagne-soaked shirt. "Sweetheart, look at me." Lily looked up. "I'm so sorry this happened. I'm so sorry that woman ruined your card. But I need you to know something important." "What, Daddy?" "Mommy would be so proud of you. Not because of the card, although that was beautiful, but because you were brave. You stood in front of that security guard and protected me. You're 8 years old, and you tried to protect your daddy. Lily's lip trembled. I didn't want them to hurt you. I know, sweetheart. I know. Marcus kissed her forehead. That's exactly who your mommy wanted you to be. Someone who stands up for the people they love. Someone who doesn't back down when things get scary. Really? Really. Lily looked at the destroyed card on the floor. But I broke my promise. I can't give the kids the card now. Marcus felt his heart crack. He knelt down, ignoring the pain in his sliced palms, and started gathering the pieces of construction paper. Some were soaked in champagne. Some were smeared with footprints. Some were torn beyond recognition, but he gathered every single piece. We're going to fix it, he said. How? Together, you and me. We'll make a new card, bigger, better, with twice as much glitter. But the party's tonight. Then we'll come back. I'll throw a whole new gala, just for the kids. And you'll give them your card in person. Not to some foundation director. To the actual children your mommy wanted to help. Lily's eyes widened. You can do that? Sweetheart, I can do anything. Marcus stood, card pieces clutched in his bloody hands. I just forgot for a while, but I'm remembering now. He turned to the crowd one last time. This gala is honoring my wife, Sarah Cole, the kindest person I ever knew. She spent her life helping children who had nothing. No books, no schools, no one who believed in them. She did it because she remembered being that child once. His voice broke. She would have hated tonight, not because of what Victoria did to me. Sarah never cared about things like that. She would have hated it because somewhere in this city, there's a kid who needs help. And instead of helping them, we're all standing here watching rich people fight in a hotel lobby. Silence. I'm going to change that. Starting tomorrow, things are going to be different. The foundation is going to be what Sarah always wanted, not a tax write-off for millionaires, but a real force for change. He looked at Victoria one final time. And you won't be part of it. Marcus turned and walked toward the ballroom doors, Lily's hand in his, card pieces clutched in his bloody palms. The crowd parted. Nobody tried to stop him. At the entrance to the ballroom, an elderly man stepped forward. Silver hair, expensive tuxedo, eyes that had seen everything and were somehow still surprised. Marcus, Arthur Pemberton said quietly. My God, it's really you. Hello, Arthur. I'm so sorry. I was inside. I didn't know. No one knew. That's the point. Marcus looked at the ballroom doors. Is her picture in there? Sarah's? Yes. Above the stage. 20 feet tall. Marcus closed his eyes, drew a breath. Daddy? Lily squeezed his hand. Are you okay? He opened his eyes, looked down at his daughter. Your mommy's watching us right now, you know, from that big picture. She's going to see us walk in together. Will she be happy? She'll be so happy, sweetheart. Because we're here. Because we came even when it was hard. Because we didn't give up. Even though the mean lady tried to stop us? Especially because of that. Marcus pushed open the ballroom doors. Ready? Lily nodded. They walked in together. The string quartet was playing something soft and elegant. Tables stretched across the massive space like a white ocean. Crystal chandeliers glittered overhead, and on the stage, exactly where Arthur said it would be, Sarah Cole's portrait smiled down at them. 20 feet tall, lit from above like an angel. Lily gasped. Mommy! Her voice carried across the silent ballroom. 300 heads turned. 300 people saw a man in a champagne-soaked suit, his hands bleeding, holding pieces of a destroyed card, walking toward his dead wife's portrait with their 8-year-old daughter. No one spoke. No one moved. They just watched. Marcus walked Lily all the way to the stage, right up to the base where Sarah's portrait loomed above them. He knelt down. "Tell her," he said. Lily looked up at her mother's face. "Hi, Mommy." Her voice was small but steady. "I tried to bring the card. The mean lady broke it. But Daddy said we'll make a new one, a bigger one, and we'll give it to the kids ourselves." Silence. "I miss you, Mommy. Daddy misses you too. He cries sometimes when he thinks I'm sleeping. But I don't tell him I know, because I don't want him to feel bad." Marcus's heart shattered. "I'm trying to be brave, like you said. It's really hard sometimes. But I have Daddy, and Daddy has me, so we're going to be okay." Lily pressed her palm against the base of the portrait. "I love you, Mommy. Forever and ever." Behind them, someone started crying. Then someone else. Then half the room. Marcus stood. His legs barely held him. His hands throbbed with pain. His chest felt like it had been cracked open and emptied out. But he stood. Because that's what Sarah would have wanted. Because that's what Lily needed. Because sometimes, standing up after you've been knocked down is the only victory that matters. "Mr. Cole?" Helen Chen, the Foundation's program director, no relation to Victoria, approached them slowly. Her face was streaked with tears. "I knew Sarah," Helen said. "I loved her. We all did." "I know. That woman, Victoria, she's been changing things, making cuts, redirecting funds. We tried to tell the board, but I'll handle it. She was going to announce tonight new efficiency measures. Half the children's programs were going to be eliminated." Marcus went very still. She was going to what? The after-school programs, the book distributions, the scholarship funds. She called them legacy waste. Said the foundation needed to modernize. Modernize? "I'm so sorry. We tried." "It's not your fault." Marcus's voice had gone flat again. Empty. Dangerous. "You tried to do the right thing. She stopped you. That's how people like her operate." He looked at the ballroom doors. Victoria Chen stood at the entrance, watching. Her gown was stained. Her makeup was ruined. Her career was over. But she was still watching, still calculating, still looking for a way out. "Helen," Marcus said quietly, "do me a favor." "Anything." "Take care of Lily for a few minutes. There's something I need to do." "Of course." Marcus knelt beside his daughter. "Sweetheart, I need to talk to some people. Helen's going to stay with you. Is that okay?" Lily looked at Helen, looked at her mother's portrait, looked back at Marcus. "Are you going to talk to the mean lady?" "Yes." "Are you going to be mean back?" Marcus considered the question. "No," he said finally. "I'm going to be fair. There's a difference." "What's the difference?" "Mean is hurting someone because you can. Fair is giving someone exactly what they earned." He kissed her forehead. "I'll be right back." He walked toward Victoria. The crowd parted again. By the time he reached her, she had stopped crying. Her face was a mask, controlled, corporate, calculated. She'd found her armor again. "Mr. Cole, we need to talk privately." "No." "Excuse me?" "No private conversations, no backroom deals. Everything happens here, in front of everyone, the way you wanted it when you were humiliating me in the lobby." Victoria's jaw tightened. "That's not professional. Neither is assaulting your employer." "I didn't know you were my employer." "Does that matter?" "Of course it matters." "Why? Would it have been okay to shove a stranger? To destroy a child's card? To grind your heel into something an 8-year-old made for her dead mother?" Victoria said nothing. That's what I thought. Marcus raised his voice. Everyone, I need your attention. The ballroom went silent. My name is Marcus Cole. I founded Cole Enterprises 32 years ago. I built it from nothing, from a desk in my parents' basement to a Fortune 500 company. And 18 months ago, I stepped back to take care of my wife while she died. He pointed at Victoria. This woman took over as CEO. I trusted her to protect what Sarah and I built. I trusted her to honor the foundation my wife created. Tonight, I found out what that trust was worth. Victoria lunged forward. You can't do this! I can do whatever I want. I own 73% of this company. I am this company. He turned back to the crowd. In the lobby tonight, Victoria Chen assaulted me. She shoved me into a waiter. She destroyed my daughter's card, a card Lily made to honor a promise to her dying mother. She called security to remove us. She called us trash. She called us homeless. She did all of this because I wore a cheap suit. Gasps rippled through the crowd. But that's not why I'm angry. I'm angry because while I was gone, while I was holding my wife's hand as she died, this woman was gutting everything we built. He turned to Helen. Helen, tell them. Helen stepped forward, her voice shaking. The CEO, Ms. Chen, has been systematically cutting children's programs for the past year. After-school tutoring, book distributions, college scholarships. She called them legacy waste and redirected the funds to what? Marcus demanded. Executive compensation, administrative costs, a new corporate headquarters. The crowd erupted. Victoria shouted over the noise. Those were business decisions. The foundation was inefficient. Inefficient? Marcus's voice cut through the chaos. My wife's dying wish was inefficient? Children learning to read was inefficient. The metrics, I don't care about your metrics. I care about the kids. I care about the promise I made to my wife. I care about the little girl standing under her mother's portrait right now, wondering why the world is so cruel. Marcus stepped closer to Victoria. You're done. You can't fire me without board approval. Watch me. The bylaws clearly state, I wrote the bylaws. Victoria's mouth snapped shut. I wrote every word, and there's a clause, Section 7, Paragraph 3, that allows the majority shareholder to terminate any executive for cause. Do you know what cause means, Victoria? She didn't answer. It means giving me a reason, and tonight you gave me about 50 of them. Assault, public misconduct, fiduciary breach, destruction of property, harassment of a minor. Want me to keep going? Victoria's mask crumbled. Please, she whispered. I have children. So did Sarah. One. That little girl over there? The one whose card you destroyed? I'll fix it. I'll apologize. Publicly, You'll do nothing. Marcus's voice was ice. Because as of this moment, you are no longer the CEO of Cole Enterprises. You are no longer affiliated with the Sarah Cole Foundation. You are no longer welcome in any building, at any event, or in any conversation that bears my wife's name. He turned away. Security. Jerome stepped forward instantly. Sir, please escort Miss Chen from the premises. Her access to all Cole Enterprises facilities is revoked, effective immediately. Yes, sir. And Jerome? Sir? Thank you for trying to do the right thing earlier. When this is over, come find me. I want to talk about your future. Jerome's eyes widened. Sir, Thank you, sir. Marcus walked away. Behind him, he heard Victoria screaming, heard her threats, heard her promises, heard her desperate attempts to claw back control. He didn't look back. He walked to the stage where Lily stood with Helen, staring up at Sarah's portrait. Daddy! Lily ran to him. What happened? The mean lady's going home. Forever? Forever. Lily looked toward the doors where Jerome was escorting Victoria out. The former CEO was still screaming, still fighting, still convinced that somehow this wasn't really happening. Daddy? Yes, sweetheart? I feel bad for her. Marcus knelt down. Why? Because she doesn't have anyone. When she was yelling, nobody tried to help her. Nobody even looked at her. Lily's brow furrowed. That must be lonely. Marcus stared at his daughter. 8 years old. Just watched a woman destroy her dead mother's card. Just saw her father bleeding on the floor. Just witnessed a public humiliation that would trend on social media for weeks. And her first instinct was compassion. Sarah's daughter, through and through. You're right, Marcus said softly. It probably is lonely. Maybe that's why she was so mean, because she didn't have anybody to teach her how to be nice. Maybe. Mommy taught me how to be nice, and you, and Grandma, and Miss Helen at school. Lily paused. But what if nobody taught her? Marcus pulled his daughter into a hug. Then I guess we have to hope she learns, even if it's late, even if it's hard. Everyone deserves a chance to learn. Even mean people? Especially mean people. Because usually, mean people started out as hurt people. Somewhere along the way, somebody hurt them so bad that they decided to hurt everyone else first. That's sad. It is sad. Lily hugged him tighter. I'm glad we're not mean, Daddy. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. Marcus stood. His hands were still bleeding. His suit was still ruined. His heart was still broken. But something had shifted. For 6 months he'd been drowning. Grief had pulled him under and held him there, and he'd let it, because fighting seemed pointless without Sarah. But Lily had thrown him a rope, his daughter, his brave, kind, impossible daughter, who made cards for strangers, who protected her father from security guards, who felt sorry for the woman who'd hurt her. Sarah's legacy wasn't the foundation. It was this little girl. Daddy? Lily tugged his hand. Can we stay for the party? I want to look at Mommy's picture some more. Marcus looked up at Sarah's portrait. She was smiling. That particular smile she'd saved for quiet moments, for lazy Sunday mornings and late-night conversations, and the 1,000 tiny intimacies of a life shared. Yeah, sweetheart, Marcus said. We can stay. They found a table near the stage. Helen brought them food, proper food, not the fancy stuff that Lily wouldn't eat. Chicken fingers and French fries and a chocolate milk that appeared from somewhere magical. People approached throughout the evening. Some offered condolences. Some offered business cards. Some just wanted to shake Marcus's hand and say they were sorry they hadn't helped in the lobby. Marcus accepted all of it graciously, because that's what Sarah would have done. At 10 o'clock, Lily fell asleep in her chair, her head resting on her arms, her face turned toward her mother's portrait. Marcus sat beside her, watching the party wind down, watching Chicago's elite file out one by one, watching the ballroom slowly empty until it was just him and his daughter and Sarah's 20-foot smile. I don't know what I'm doing, he said quietly to the portrait. I've been lost since you left. Half the time I can barely get out of bed. The other half I'm pretending to be okay for Lily, when really I'm falling apart. He wiped his eyes. But tonight I remembered something. I remembered who I was before you got sick. I remembered what we built together. I remembered why we built it. He looked at Lily, sleeping peacefully, safely, loved. She's so much like you. The compassion, the bravery, the way she looks at the world like it could be better if people just tried hard enough. His voice cracked. I'm going to make it better. For her. For the kids you wanted to help. For everyone who feels like they don't belong. He reached up toward the portrait, even though he couldn't touch it. even though she was gone, even though all that remained was a picture and a memory, and a hole in his chest that would never fully heal. I love you, Sarah. I'll love you forever. And I promise, I swear on everything I am, I won't let them forget what you stood for. The ballroom was silent, but Marcus could have sworn, just for a moment, that Sarah's portrait smiled a little wider. The next morning came too early. Marcus woke up on the couch in his living room, Lily curled against his chest, both of them still wearing their clothes from the night before. His hands throbbed where the glass had cut them. He'd bandaged them at some point, though he couldn't remember when. His phone was buzzing. Had been buzzing for hours, judging by the notification count. 347 missed calls, 892 text messages, over 2,000 emails, and climbing. "Daddy?" Lily stirred against him. "What's that noise?" "Nothing, sweetheart. Go back to sleep." But Marcus was already reaching for the phone, already scrolling through the chaos, already seeing his name trending on every platform. Cole Enterprises, founder assaulted at own charity gala. CEO Victoria Chen fired after viral confrontation. Billionaire reveals identity after wife's death. The father who came back. Inside the Cole Enterprises scandal. Videos were everywhere. The lobby confrontation, his speech in the ballroom, Lily talking to her mother's portrait, Victoria being escorted out, screaming threats that would haunt her forever. 12 million views, 18 million, 23 million and counting. Marcus put the phone down. "Lily, wake up. We need to have breakfast." His daughter rubbed her eyes. "Can we have pancakes?" "We can have whatever you want." They made pancakes together. Chocolate chip, Lily's favorite, with whipped cream shaped like a smiley face, the way Sarah used to do it. Marcus burned the first batch because he was thinking about Victoria Chen, about the foundation, about everything he'd ignored for 18 months while his wife was dying. "Daddy, you're not paying attention." "Sorry, sweetheart. I've got a lot on my mind." "Is it about the mean lady?" Marcus flipped a pancake. "Partly." "Are you still mad at her?" He considered the question. Was he mad? He'd been furious last night. He'd wanted to destroy her, humiliate her, make her feel exactly what she'd made him feel. But this morning, in the kitchen where Sarah used to sing while she cooked, surrounded by memories of a life that would never come back, Marcus found that the anger had faded into something else. Determination. "I'm not mad," he said finally. "I'm focused." "On what?" "On fixing what she broke." The doorbell rang at 8:47 a.m. Marcus opened it to find Arthur Pemberton standing on his porch, looking like he hadn't slept either. The old man held a thick folder and a cup of coffee. "We need to talk," Arthur said. "I know. It's worse than you think." "I figured." Marcus let him in. Lily waved from the kitchen table, syrup on her chin. "Hi, Mr. Arthur." "Hello, Lily. Those pancakes look delicious." "Daddy made them. He only burned 2. Arthur smiled, but his eyes were tired. "Marcus, is there somewhere we can talk? Privately?" "Lily, sweetheart, can you watch cartoons for a little while? Daddy needs to have a grown-up conversation." "Okay." Lily grabbed her plate and headed for the living room. "But you have to tell me what happens." "I will." Marcus led Arthur to his home office. Sarah's office, really. He hadn't changed anything since she died. Her books were still on the shelves, her photos still on the desk, her handwriting still on the whiteboard where she'd been planning foundation initiatives right up until the diagnosis. Arthur set the folder on the desk. "You're not going to like this." "I haven't liked anything in 6 months. One more thing won't break me." Don't be so sure. Arthur opened the folder. I've been on the board for 15 years. Sarah and I worked together on the foundation from the beginning. She trusted me. I know. So trust me when I tell you that what Victoria did last night, the assault, the humiliation, that was the least of her crimes. Marcus sat down. Show me. For the next 2 hours, Arthur walked him through 18 months of corporate destruction. Financial records, board meeting minutes, internal memos, email chains. Victoria hadn't just been cutting children's programs. She'd been systematically dismantling everything Sarah had built. The scholarship fund, reduced by 60%. The money redirected to executive development initiatives. The after-school programs, eliminated entirely in 3 districts. The facilities sold to a real estate developer who happened to be Victoria's brother-in-law. The book distribution network, contracted to a new vendor at triple the cost. A vendor owned by Victoria's college roommate. And worst of all, the Memorial Fund. The fund Sarah had created in her final weeks, designed to provide emergency support for families dealing with terminal illness. Victoria had drained it completely. Where did the money go? Marcus asked, his voice dangerously quiet. Administrative overhead, conference expenses, travel budgets. Arthur paused. Her travel budget alone was $2.3 million last year. For a charitable foundation? Yes. Marcus stared at the numbers, at the proof of everything Victoria had stolen. Not just money, though there was plenty of that, but meaning, purpose. His wife's dying wish, gutted and sold off for profit. Why didn't the board stop her? Arthur looked away. We tried, some of us, but Victoria was persuasive. She brought in new board members, people who owed her favors, people who benefited from her decisions. And you? I voted against every cut. I filed formal objections. I threatened to go public. Arthur's voice cracked. She threatened me back, said she'd destroy my reputation, said she had information. What information? It doesn't matter. The point is, I was a coward. I let her intimidate me. I let her dismantle Sarah's legacy while I watched and did nothing. Marcus said nothing. I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm so sorry. Sarah deserved better. You deserved better. Those children deserved better. You're right. Marcus stood. They did. What are you going to do? Marcus looked at Sarah's whiteboard, at her handwriting, at the plan she'd made for a future she'd never see. Everything. The first call came at 11 a.m. Mr. Cole, this is Detective Patricia Hawkins with the Chicago Police Department. We need to discuss the incident at the Lakefront Grand Hotel. I'll come to you. What's the address? He dropped Lily at his mother's house, a conversation that took 30 minutes because his mother had seen the videos and had approximately 10,000 questions, and drove downtown. The police station was chaos. Reporters crowded the entrance. Cameras flashed. Questions were shouted. Mr. Cole, are you pressing charges? Mr. Cole, what's your response to Victoria Chen's lawyer? Mr. Cole, is it true you're worth over $1 billion? Marcus said nothing, kept walking, kept his face neutral. Detective Hawkins met him at the door. This way, Mr. Cole. We've got a room ready. She was in her 50s, gray-streaked hair pulled back tight, the kind of face that had seen everything and was surprised by nothing. She walked fast and talked faster. We've got about 40 witnesses, 63 video recordings, clear evidence of assault. She glanced at his bandaged hands. Those need to be documented. I understand. We've also received a complaint from Victoria Chen. She's claiming you threatened her, defamed her, and wrongfully terminated her employment. Marcus almost laughed. She shoved me into a waiter. She destroyed my daughter's card. She called security to remove me from my own event. I know. Her lawyer knows too, which is why the complaint is going nowhere. But I wanted you to be aware. Hawkins stopped outside an interview room. Before we go in, I have a question. Ask. Why didn't you identify yourself in the lobby before any of this happened? You could have said who you were, shown some ID, ended the whole thing in 30 seconds. Marcus considered the question. He'd asked himself the same thing, lying awake on the couch with Lily in his arms. Because it shouldn't have mattered, he said finally. Whether I own the company or not, whether I was rich or poor. My daughter wanted to deliver a card to a charity. That's all. And Victoria Chen decided we weren't good enough to exist in her presence. Hawkins nodded slowly. That's what I thought you'd say. She opened the door. Let's get your statement. The interview took 3 hours. Marcus described everything. The arrival, the confrontation, the assault. Victoria's words, her actions, her absolute certainty that she had the right to treat another human being like garbage. He showed them his hands. Let them photograph the cuts, the bruises, the evidence of what happened when powerful people faced no consequences. When it was over, Detective Hawkins walked him to a back exit. We're going to recommend charges, she said. Assault, battery, possibly destruction of property, depending on how the DA wants to proceed. And the financial crimes? Hawkins raised an eyebrow. What financial crimes? The foundation. She's been embezzling for 18 months. I have documentation. That's not my department. You'd need to talk to the FBI. White-collar crimes. Who do I call? Hawkins studied him for a moment. You're really going after her. She stole from dying children, Detective. She took money meant for families dealing with cancer and used it to fly first class to conferences in Monaco. Marcus's voice hardened. Yes, I'm really going after her. Hawkins pulled out a card. Special Agent David Morrison. He's good. Tell him I sent you. Thank you. Mr. Cole, she stopped him at the door. Your daughter, the one in the videos. The way she talked to her mother's portrait. What about her? She's something special. Hawkins's professional mask slipped, just for a moment. My mother died when I was 10. I know what that's like. The way your daughter handled last night, most adults couldn't do that. She's her mother's daughter. She's her father's, too. Hawkins opened the door. Good luck, Mr. Cole. Make them pay. The FBI meeting was scheduled for the following morning. Marcus spent the night preparing. He spread Arthur's documents across the dining room table, organizing them by date, by crime, by the trail of money that led from Sarah's charity to Victoria's bank accounts. Lily helped. She didn't understand the numbers, but she understood something was wrong, and she wanted to contribute. What does embezzlement mean? She asked, carefully arranging papers into piles. It means taking money that doesn't belong to you. Like stealing? Exactly like stealing. The mean lady stole money? Yes, sweetheart, she stole a lot of money. Lily frowned. But she had nice clothes and nice jewelry. If she had all that stuff, why did she need to steal? Marcus stopped sorting, looked at his daughter. That's a really good question. What's the answer? I don't know. I think some people just want more, no matter how much they have. They look at what other people need, and they take it anyway, because they can. That's mean. Yes, Mommy would be really mad. Mommy would be furious. Lily nodded solemnly. Good. I'm furious too. At 9 p.m., Marcus put Lily to bed, read her a story, kissed her forehead. Daddy? Yes, sweetheart? Are we going to fix it? The thing the mean lady broke? We're going to try. Mommy always said trying is the most important part. She was right. I know, Lily yawned. She was always right about everything. Marcus smiled. Almost everything. What was she wrong about? She said I'd never learn to make good pancakes. Lily giggled. You still can't make good pancakes. Hey, the edges are always burned. That's character. That's burned. Marcus laughed. Actually laughed. The sound surprised him. He couldn't remember the last time he'd laughed. Go to sleep, you little monster. Night, Daddy. Night, sweetheart. I love you. I love you too. And Mommy loves us. Even from heaven. Even from heaven. He turned off the light and stood in the doorway for a long moment, watching his daughter drift off to sleep. Sarah's daughter. His daughter. The only thing in the world that mattered. The FBI field office occupied 3 floors of a building in the Loop. Security was tight. Credentials were checked twice. Marcus was patted down, scanned, and escorted through a maze of corridors before finally being deposited in a conference room with no windows. Special Agent David Morrison was waiting. He was younger than Marcus expected, mid-40s maybe, with close-cropped hair and the kind of neutral expression that gave nothing away. He stood when Marcus entered and offered a handshake that was firm without being aggressive. Mr. Cole, thank you for coming in. Thank you for seeing me on short notice. Detective Hawkins speaks highly of you, and frankly, your videos have made this the most high-profile case of the month. Morrison gestured to a chair. Please, sit. Tell me what you have. Marcus set the folder on the table. 18 months of financial records, internal communications, board meeting minutes, evidence of systematic embezzlement, self-dealing, and fraud. From Victoria Chen? And others. She didn't work alone. There are board members who benefited from her decisions, vendors who kicked back payments, family members who received no-bid contracts. Morrison's eyebrows rose slightly. You've done your homework. I was a CEO for 30 years, Agent Morrison. I know how to read a balance sheet. And you know how to spot fraud? When it's this obvious, anyone could spot it. Marcus opened the folder. Start with a travel budget. $2.3 million in 18 months. For a charitable foundation that's supposed to be spending money on children's education. Morrison flipped through the pages. His expression didn't change, but his eyes moved faster. These are internal documents. Yes. How did you obtain them? Arthur Pemberton, board member. He's been documenting Victoria's misconduct for over a year. Will he testify? Yes. Morrison set down the papers. Mr. Cole, I have to ask, what do you want out of this? I want her prosecuted. I want everyone involved prosecuted. I want the money returned to the foundation so it can be used for its intended purpose. And personally? Marcus paused. What do you mean? I mean, this case could take years. It could consume your life. It could drag you and your daughter through endless depositions, media attention, and legal battles. Morrison leaned forward. Victoria Chen has already hired a team of lawyers. She's claiming this is a personal vendetta. She's saying you're using your wealth to destroy her because she embarrassed you. She assaulted me. I know, but that's what she's saying, and her lawyers are good. Morrison's voice softened. So, I'm asking again. What do you really want? Marcus thought about Lily, about pancakes and bedtime stories, and a little girl who felt sorry for the woman who'd hurt her. He thought about Sarah, about her smile in that 20-foot portrait, about the promise he'd made to her in the hospice, holding her hand as she slipped away. He thought about the children, the ones Victoria had abandoned when she gutted their programs, the ones who were supposed to be learning to read, getting school supplies, earning scholarships that would change their lives. I want justice, Marcus said finally. Not revenge, not destruction. Justice. For my wife, for my daughter, for every child who was supposed to benefit from that foundation. Morrison studied him for a long moment. Okay, he said. Let's get to work. The investigation moved faster than anyone expected. Within a week, the FBI had subpoenaed Cole Enterprises' financial records. Within 2 weeks, they'd frozen Victoria Chen's assets pending review. Within a month, 3 board members had resigned, and 2 vendors had agreed to cooperate in exchange for reduced charges. Victoria herself remained defiant. Her lawyers issued statements. She gave interviews claiming persecution, discrimination, and abuse of power by a grief-stricken billionaire who couldn't accept that his company had moved on without him. The public wasn't buying it. The videos from the gala had changed everything. People had seen Victoria Chen shove a widower to the ground, had watched her grind her heel into a child's card, had heard her call them trash, homeless, contamination. No amount of spin could erase that. Marcus watched the coverage from his home office, Lily doing homework at the desk that had been Sarah's. "Daddy, what's indicted mean?" "It means the government is officially accusing someone of a crime." "Is that what's happening to the mean lady?" "Yes, sweetheart." "Good." Lily went back to her math worksheet. "She deserves it." "Lily." "What?" "Remember what we talked about? About how mean people are usually hurt people?" "I remember." "That's still true, even when they're being punished for what they did." Lily looked up. "But she still has to be punished, right? Even if she's hurt?" "Yes. Actions have consequences. When you hurt people, you have to face those consequences." "So she can be hurt and also wrong?" "Yes." "That's confusing." "I know. Most things are confusing when you look at them closely." Lily chewed on her pencil. "Mommy made things less confusing." "She did." "I miss that." "Me too, sweetheart. Me too." The call came at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. Marcus grabbed his phone, heart pounding, expecting bad news because 3 a.m. calls were never good. "Mr. Cole, this is Agent Morrison." "What happened?" "Victoria Chen. She's attempting to flee the country. We intercepted her at O'Hare an hour ago." Marcus sat up. "Flee?" "Private jet. Destination Switzerland. She had $47 million in a numbered account there. We've frozen it." $47 million? "From the foundation, directly traceable." Morrison's voice was grim. "It's worse than we thought, Mr. Cole. Much worse." "How much worse?" "The forensic accountants finished their preliminary review tonight. Over the past 18 months, Victoria Chen and her associates embezzled approximately $89 million from Cole Enterprises and the Sarah Cole Foundation." Marcus couldn't breathe. $89 million. His wife's foundation. Her legacy. Her dying wish. $89 million. "Mr. Cole, are you still there?" "I'm here." "She's in custody now. Flight risk. The judge denied bail." "Good." "There's going to be a press conference tomorrow morning. The U.S. attorney wants to announce the charges. All 47 counts." 47. Wire fraud, money laundering, embezzlement, tax evasion, conspiracy. Morrison paused. "And assault." The DA added that one special. Said it was personal. Marcus stared at the ceiling of his bedroom. 47 counts. $89 million. His wife's legacy, stolen and hidden in a Swiss bank account, while children went without books. "Mr. Cole, I need to ask, do you want to be at the press conference?" "Yes." "It's going to be intense. Media everywhere. Cameras in your face. Questions about your wife, your daughter, everything." "I understand." "And Lily?" Marcus closed his eyes, thought about his daughter, about what she'd already been through, about what she'd said that night at the gala. Lily will be there too. Are you sure she started this? She deserves to see how it ends. Morrison was quiet for a moment. You're a good father, Mr. Cole. I'm trying to be. For what it's worth, I think your wife would be proud. Marcus looked at the empty pillow next to him. The pillow that still smelled like Sarah's shampoo, even after 6 months. I hope so, he said quietly. I really hope so. The press conference was held at the federal courthouse. Marcus stood at the back of the room with Lily, watching as the U.S. attorney laid out the charges against Victoria Chen. 47 counts, $89 million. A systematic betrayal of public trust that had destroyed programs serving over 10,000 children. Cameras flashed, reporters scribbled. The room buzzed with the controlled chaos of major news breaking in real time. Daddy, Lily whispered, there are a lot of people here. I know. Are they all here because of the mean lady? Yes. And because of us? Marcus looked down at his daughter. She was wearing the same dress she'd worn to the gala. She'd insisted, and she held a new card in her hands. This one was bigger, more elaborate, with twice as much glitter. For the kids, she'd explained that morning, so they know we didn't forget. Yes, sweetheart, because of us too. Mommy would think this is crazy. Mommy would think this is exactly right. The U.S. attorney finished his statement and opened the floor to questions. Immediately, hands shot up. What's the maximum sentence? Will there be additional defendants? Has the money been recovered? Then, from the back, Mr. Cole, Mr. Cole, will you make a statement? Every head in the room turned. Marcus felt Lily squeeze his hand. Daddy, what do we do? He looked at his daughter, at her mother's eyes, at the card she'd made for children she'd never meet. We tell them the truth, he said. That's all we can do. He walked to the front of the room. Lily walked with him. The cameras followed every step. At the podium, Marcus adjusted the microphone. My name is Marcus Cole. 6 months ago, my wife Sarah died of cancer. 2 weeks ago, my daughter and I tried to attend a charity gala in her memory. We were assaulted, humiliated, and thrown out by the woman who was supposed to be protecting my wife's legacy. He paused, breathed. What happened that night was painful, but it was also necessary, because it exposed the truth about what had been happening while I was grieving, while I was holding my wife's hand as she died, while I was trying to help my daughter understand why Mommy wasn't coming home. His voice cracked. $89 million. That's what was stolen. That's how much was taken from programs that fed children, clothed children, educated children. That's how much Victoria Chen and her associates decided they deserved more than the kids my wife spent her life trying to help. Marcus looked directly into the cameras. I don't want your sympathy. I don't want your outrage. I want you to remember. Remember what happens when good people look away. Remember what happens when we trust without verifying. Remember what happens when we let money and power determine who matters. He put his hand on Lily's shoulder. My daughter has something she wants to say. Lily stepped up to the microphone. She had to stand on her tiptoes to reach it. Hi, I'm Lily. My mommy died, and I miss her a lot. The room went absolutely silent. The mean lady broke my card, the one I made for the kids. But I made a new one. She held it up. It says, "Don't give up. We believe in you." Because that's what Mommy would say. She always said, "Don't give up," even when things are hard. Lily looked at the cameras. I hope the kids get their books now. I hope they get their schools and their teachers and everything they need. Because Mommy wanted them to have it. And when Mommy wanted something, she made it happen. She turned to Marcus. "Right, Daddy?" Marcus pulled his daughter into a hug, right there at the podium, in front of 100 cameras and 1,000 microphones. "Right, sweetheart," he whispered. "Your mommy always made it happen." The applause started slowly. Then it grew and grew, until the entire room was standing, clapping, crying, watching a widower and his orphaned daughter hold each other in front of the woman who'd tried to destroy them. Justice had come. But the work was just beginning. The applause of the press conference faded, but the work had only begun. Marcus returned to Cole Enterprises the next morning for the first time in 18 months. The building looked the same, 47 floors of glass and steel rising over downtown Chicago. But everything felt different, foreign, like walking into a house where you used to live, but someone else had rearranged all the furniture. His assistant from the old days, Margaret, met him at the elevator. She was crying before the doors opened. "Mr. Cole! Oh, Mr. Cole!" "Hello, Margaret." "I'm so sorry. About Mrs. Cole. About everything that happened."
I wanted to reach out, but I didn't know if...
"It's okay." Marcus touched her arm gently. "It's okay." "It's not okay. What that woman did. What she turned this place into." Margaret wiped her eyes. "Mrs. Cole would be heartbroken." "That's why I'm here. To fix it." Margaret nodded, composing herself. "The board is waiting. Conference room A. They've been there since 7. "All of them?" "The ones who didn't resign. Or get arrested." Marcus almost smiled. "How many is that?" 6 out of 12. "Better than I expected." He walked through the executive floor. Employees stopped what they were doing, stared. Some whispered. Some looked away in shame. A few started crying like Margaret had. Marcus recognized faces, people he'd hired years ago. People who'd worked alongside Sarah on the foundation. People who'd watched Victoria Chen dismantle everything and said nothing. He didn't blame them. Not entirely. He knew how fear worked, how power corrupted not just those who wielded it, but those who witnessed it being wielded. But he also knew that silence had a cost, and they were all paying it now. The conference room doors were heavy oak. Marcus had picked them himself 20 years ago when the company moved into this building. Sarah had laughed at him. "Oak doors? Really? Who are you trying to impress?" "Future employees, future partners, people who need to know we're serious." "You're ridiculous. You love me anyway." "Unfortunately, yes." Marcus pushed open the doors. 6 faces looked up. 4 men, 2 women. All of them looked like they hadn't slept in weeks. Arthur Pemberton sat at the far end of the table. He nodded at Marcus. "Thank you all for being here," Marcus said, taking his seat at the head of the table. The seat that had been empty for 18 months. The seat Victoria had claimed as her own. "Mr. Cole," one of the board members started. Richard something. Marcus couldn't remember his last name. "We want you to know that we had no idea—" "Stop." Richard's mouth snapped shut. "I'm not here to listen to excuses. I'm not here to assign blame. I'm here to rebuild. Either you're going to help me do that, or you're going to resign. Those are the only 2 options." Silence. Victoria Chen stole $89 million from this company, from the foundation my wife created, from children who had nothing. Marcus let the words land. "That happened on your watch. All of you. You signed off on budgets. You approved expenditures. You sat in this room while she gutted everything Sarah and I built." "We tried to stop her," one of the women said. Jennifer Okafor. She'd been on the board for 10 years. Sarah had trusted her. "Arthur and I both tried." "I know you did." Marcus's voice softened slightly. "Arthur showed me the records, the objections you filed, the votes you cast." Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. "It wasn't enough." "No, it wasn't. But you tried. That matters. Marcus looked around the table. The question is, what do we do now? Arthur leaned forward. We have a proposal. Let's hear it. Complete restructuring, new oversight committees, independent audits every quarter, transparent reporting to the public. Arthur slid a folder across the table. We've been working on this since the night of the gala. A new charter for the foundation, one that ensures this can never happen again. Marcus opened the folder, scanned the pages. You want to rename it? Yes. The Lily Cole Foundation. Marcus looked up sharply. What? Sarah's legacy was corrupted, tainted by what Victoria did. Arthur's voice was gentle. But Lily, what she did that night, what she said at the press conference, she represents everything Sarah believed in. Hope, courage, compassion. She's 8 years old. Exactly. She's the future Sarah was fighting for. Arthur paused. And frankly, Marcus, she's the reason any of this is happening. If she hadn't insisted on delivering that card, if she hadn't stood up to Victoria in the lobby, if she hadn't spoken at her mother's portrait, the world would never have known, Jennifer finished quietly. Lily broke the story. Not the FBI, not the press. An 8-year-old girl with a card made of construction paper and glitter. Marcus stared at the proposal, at his daughter's name in bold letters. I need to ask her. Of course. If she says no, then we find another way. But Marcus, Arthur leaned forward. She won't say no. You know she won't. She's Sarah's daughter. She's my daughter too. Yes, Arthur smiled. And you're the man Sarah chose. The man who built this company from nothing. The man who walked into that gala in a cheap suit and changed everything. Marcus closed the folder. Set up a meeting for next week. Full board. All department heads. I want a complete audit of every program Victoria touched. And the foundation? I'll talk to Lily tonight. He found his daughter at his mother's house, helping bake cookies. Flour covered her face. Chocolate chips were scattered across the counter. She was laughing at something her grandmother had said. Marcus stood in the doorway, watching. This was what mattered. Not the company, not the foundation, not the billions of dollars, or the press conferences, or the criminal trials. This little girl, this laugh, this moment of joy in a world that had given her so much pain. Daddy! Lily spotted him and ran over, leaving flour footprints on the kitchen floor. We're making cookies. Grandma says I can eat 3, but I already ate 4. Don't tell her. I heard that, his mother said from the counter. Your ears are too good, Grandma. Marcus scooped Lily up, not caring about the flour transferring to his suit. How was your day, sweetheart? Good. We watched a movie about a dog. And then we played cards. And then Grandma told me stories about Mommy when she was little. Marcus looked at his mother. She smiled softly. Sarah used to bake cookies with me, too. Same recipe. She always ate more chocolate chips than she put in the batter. Like me, Lily said proudly. Exactly like you. Marcus set Lily down. Sweetheart, I need to talk to you about something. Something important. Is it about the mean lady? No, it's about you. Lily's face scrunched up in confusion. Me? Come sit with me. They sat on the living room couch, the same couch where Marcus had sat with Sarah when they were dating, when they were planning their wedding, when they were dreaming about the future. You know how Mommy had her foundation? The one that helped kids? The one the mean lady broke? Yes, that one. Marcus took a breath. Some people want to fix it, make it better than before, make sure nobody can ever break it again. That's good. They want to name it after you. Lily blinked. After me? The Lily Cole Foundation, because of what you did, because of how brave you were. But I didn't do anything. I just wanted to give the kids my card." That's exactly what you did. And because of that, everyone found out what the mean lady was doing. Because of you, they can fix it. Lily was quiet for a long moment. Would Mommy be okay with it? The question hit Marcus like a punch. What do you mean? It was Mommy's foundation, named after her. If they change it to my name, would she be sad? Marcus pulled his daughter close. Sweetheart, your mommy would be so proud, so incredibly proud. She spent her whole life trying to help kids like you. Kids who were brave and kind and wanted to make the world better. But I'm not like that. I'm just regular. There's no such thing as regular, Lily. Everyone is special. Everyone has something to give. He tilted her chin up to meet his eyes. Your mommy saw that in every child she helped. And she saw it in you most of all. Really? Really. She used to say you were her greatest achievement. Not the company, not the foundation. You. Lily's eyes filled with tears. I miss her, Daddy. I know, sweetheart. I miss her too. Every day. Every single day. They held each other on the couch while the sun set outside, and Marcus's mother quietly finished the cookies in the kitchen. Finally, Lily pulled back. Okay. Okay what? They can name it after me, if it helps the kids. Are you sure? Mommy would want me to help. She always said helping was the most important thing. Marcus kissed his daughter's forehead. She was right. She was always right. Almost always. Lily smiled through her tears. What was she wrong about? She said I'd never learned to make good pancakes. Daddy, you still can't make good pancakes. I'm improving. The edges are still burned. That's character. That's burned. They laughed together, and for just a moment, Marcus could almost hear Sarah laughing with them. The announcement came 3 weeks later. Marcus stood at a podium in front of Cole Enterprises headquarters, Lily beside him, cameras flashing from every direction. The crowd stretched back for blocks. Employees, journalists, families who'd been helped by the foundation over the years, and thousands of ordinary Chicagoans who just wanted to be part of history. Today, we begin a new chapter, Marcus said into the microphone. Not just for Cole Enterprises, but for the children of Chicago, for the children everywhere who need someone to believe in them. He looked down at Lily. She nodded. The Sarah Cole Foundation served over 10,000 children in its 15 years. It provided books, scholarships, after-school programs, and hope to families who had none. And for the past 18 months, it was betrayed by someone who was supposed to protect it. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. That betrayal ends today. We are relaunching the foundation under a new name. A name that represents everything we stand for. A name that reminds us why we do this work. Marcus took his daughter's hand. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Lily Cole Foundation. The crowd erupted. Applause crashed over them like waves. People cheered, whistled, stamped their feet. Signs waved in the air, some with Lily's face, some with Sarah's, some with messages of support that made Marcus's throat tight. Lily stepped up to the microphone. She had to stand on a small platform that someone had brought just for this moment. Hi, she said, her small voice carrying over the speakers. I'm Lily. I'm 8 years old. My mommy died 6 months ago. The crowd went silent. Mommy loved helping kids. She said everyone deserves a chance, even kids who don't have a lot of stuff, even kids who live in places that are kind of broken, even kids who feel invisible. Lily paused, took a breath. I felt invisible after Mommy died, like nobody could see me anymore, like the colors all went away and everything was gray. Marcus gripped the podium. He hadn't known, hadn't realized how much Lily had been hiding. But then we went to the party, and the mean lady was really mean, and something happened. Lily looked at her father. Daddy stood up. He didn't let her push us around. He said our names matter. He said, I matter. She turned back to the crowd. And now everyone can see me, and everyone can see the kids who need help. And maybe that's what Mommy wanted all along, for people to stop being invisible. The crowd was crying, not just some of them, most of them. So this foundation is for the invisible kids, the ones who feel like nobody sees them. We see you. I see you. And I promise, pinky promise, that we're going to help. She held up her pinky, and across the crowd, thousands of people held up their pinkies back. Marcus couldn't speak, could barely breathe. His 8-year-old daughter had just done something he couldn't have done with 100 speeches. She'd made it personal. She'd made it real. After the ceremony, the donations started pouring in. Not just from the wealthy families who usually wrote checks at galas. From ordinary people. Teachers sending $20. Single mothers sending $5. Children sending their allowance money with handwritten notes that said things like, "For Lily's kids," and "Because invisible hurts." Within a week, they'd raised $15 million. Within a month, $60 million. More than Victoria had stolen, more than the foundation had ever raised before. How is this possible? Marcus asked Arthur during one of their evening meetings. We haven't even launched the first program yet. People trust her, Arthur said simply. They trust Lily. She's not a corporation or a charity or a tax write-off. She's a little girl who lost her mother and stood up to a bully. That's a story people understand. She's 8. She's a symbol of everything good that's still possible in this world. Marcus looked out the window at the Chicago skyline. Somewhere out there, Victoria Chen sat in a federal detention center awaiting trial. Somewhere out there, children were going to bed hungry, bookless, hopeless. And somewhere in between, his daughter had become something bigger than either of them had ever imagined. I didn't want this for her, Marcus said quietly. I wanted her to have a normal childhood, play with friends, go to school, be a kid. She can still do all those things, can she? With her face on every news channel? With people recognizing her everywhere we go? Arthur was quiet for a moment. Marcus, I've been on boards and committees and foundations for 40 years. I've seen a lot of people try to change the world. Most of them fail. Not because they don't care, but because they can't connect. They can't make people feel it. He turned to face Marcus. Your daughter makes people feel it. That's a gift, a rare one. The question isn't whether she should use it. She already is. The question is how you help her use it wisely. She's 8. So protect her, guide her, make sure she stays grounded. Arthur smiled. Be her father. That's the most important job you have. Marcus nodded slowly. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You were just too busy building an empire to notice. Sarah noticed. Sarah noticed everything. That's why we all loved her. That night, Marcus found Lily in her room, looking at a photo album. Pictures of Sarah, at the beach, at Christmas, at Lily's birthday parties, in the garden she'd loved so much. Hey, sweetheart, what are you doing? Looking at Mommy. Marcus sat beside her on the bed. Which one's your favorite? Lily pointed to a picture of Sarah holding a newborn Lily in the hospital. Sarah's face was exhausted but radiant, her eyes fixed on the tiny bundle in her arms like nothing else in the world existed. That one, because she looked so happy. She was happy. That was the happiest day of her life. Happier than when you got married? Yes. Happier than when she started the foundation? Yes. Happier than everything? Marcus put his arm around his daughter. When you were born, your mommy said something I'll never forget. She said, "Now I understand why I'm here. Everything else was just practice." Lily traced her finger over Sarah's face in the photo. I wish I remembered her better. What do you mean? You remember her. Some things. But sometimes I try to remember her voice, and I can't. Or I try to remember what she smelled like, and I can't. Lily's voice trembled. What if I forget her completely? Marcus pulled her close. You won't forget her. You know why? Why? Because she's part of you. Every time you're brave, that's her. Every time you're kind, that's her. Every time you want to help someone who's hurting, that's her. Really? Really. You don't need to remember every detail of her face or her voice. She's in your heart, in who you are, in everything you do. Lily was quiet for a long time. Daddy? Yes? The foundation, the one with my name. I want to do something special with it. Like what? I want to help kids who lost their mommies, or their daddies. Kids like me. Marcus's heart clenched. We can do that. Because they feel invisible. I know they do. I felt invisible. And I had you. Lily looked up at him. But some kids don't have anyone. Nobody to make them pancakes, even if the pancakes are burned. We'll create a program specifically for children who've lost parents. And we'll make sure they know someone sees them. We will. Lily nodded firmly. Good. Mommy would want that. Mommy would love that. I know. Lily closed the photo album and hugged it to her chest. That's why I thought of it. The program launched 6 weeks later. They called it Lily's Light, a network of support services, counseling, and community programs for children who'd lost parents to illness, accident, or violence. The response was overwhelming. Within a month, over 3,000 families had enrolled. Within 3 months, they'd expanded to 12 cities. Within 6 months, Lily's Light had become one of the most talked about charitable initiatives in the country. And through it all, Lily Cole, 8 years old, motherless, the symbol of everything good, remained exactly who she'd always been. A little girl who ate too many chocolate chips. A daughter who loved her father. A child who believed that invisible people deserved to be seen. Marcus watched his daughter grow into her new role with a mixture of pride and terror. Pride because she handled every interview, every appearance, every tearful hug from grieving children with a grace that seemed impossible for someone her age. Terror because he knew what fame could do, what pressure could do, what the weight of expectations could do to a child who should be worrying about homework and friendships and whether her pancakes were too burned. You're doing amazing, he told her after a particularly long day of meetings and photo ops and foundation business. But if you ever want to stop, stop what? Any of it, all of it. If you want to just be a normal kid? Daddy? Lily looked at him with Sarah's eyes, Sarah's wisdom, Sarah's impossible understanding. I am a normal kid. I just do different stuff than other normal kids. But the pressure is worth it because of the kids we're helping. She put her small hand on his. Mommy spent her whole life doing this, and she was happy. I want to be happy too. You're already happy? I'm working on it, Lily smiled. Same as you. Marcus stared at his daughter. When did you get so grown up? I've always been grown up. You were just too busy making burned pancakes to notice. He laughed. Actually laughed. A real laugh that came from somewhere deep and warm and hopeful. I love you, Lily. I love you too, Daddy. Your mom would be so proud of you. I know. Lily squeezed his hand. She tells me every night. In my dreams. Marcus's breath caught. She does? Yeah, she sits on my bed and tells me stories. About when she was little. About when you met. About all the kids she helped before she got sick. What else does she say? Lily smiled. Sarah's smile, exactly. She says thank you for taking care of me, for taking care of the foundation, for not giving up, even when it got really hard. Tears streamed down Marcus's face. And she says one more thing. What? Lily leaned close and whispered in his ear. She says the pancakes are getting better. Marcus pulled his daughter into a hug and held her tight, laughing and crying at the same time. While somewhere above them, Sarah Cole watched over the family she'd left behind and smiled. The letter arrived on a Tuesday morning, 8 months after the gala. Marcus was making breakfast. Pancakes again, because Lily insisted on them every Tuesday as a tribute to Sarah's tradition. When the doorbell rang. "I'll get it," Lily shouted, already running. "Lily, wait!" But she'd already opened the door. A man in a suit stood on the porch, holding an envelope. "Marcus Cole?" "That's my daddy," Lily said. "Who are you?" Marcus appeared behind her. "Lily, go finish your breakfast." "But now, sweetheart." Lily retreated reluctantly, casting suspicious glances over her shoulder. The man handed Marcus the envelope. "You've been subpoenaed. United States versus Victoria Chen. You're required to testify." Marcus took the envelope. "When?" 3 weeks. The trial starts Monday after next. Your testimony is scheduled for the 2nd week." "And my daughter?" The man hesitated. "She's been subpoenaed too." Marcus's blood went cold. "Absolutely not." "Sir, I don't make the decisions. I just deliver the papers." The man pulled out a second envelope. The defense requested her specifically. The judge approved it. "She's 8 years old." "I know, sir. I'm sorry." Marcus stood in the doorway long after the man left, staring at the 2 envelopes in his hands. Inside, he could hear Lily humming while she ate her pancakes, oblivious to what was coming. Victoria Chen wanted his daughter on the stand. Victoria Chen wanted to cross-examine an 8-year-old orphan about the night her card was destroyed. Marcus's hands shook with rage. He called his lawyer within the hour. "They can't do this, Robert. They can't put a child through that." "They can, and they will." Robert Hawthorne had been Marcus's attorney for 20 years. He'd seen everything. But even he sounded disturbed. The defense is arguing that Lily is a key witness. She was present for the initial confrontation. She made statements that were recorded and broadcast worldwide. She's a victim. In the eyes of the law, she's a witness, and witnesses can be compelled to testify. She watched her mother die. She was assaulted in that lobby. And now they want to drag her into a courtroom and, what, try to make her look like a liar? That's exactly what they want. Marcus sank into his chair. What's their angle? Victoria's defense is claiming that the entire incident was staged, that you knew who you were and deliberately provoked a confrontation to damage her reputation and seize control of the company. That's insane. It's desperate, but it's also their only play. The financial evidence is overwhelming. The assault was captured on video from multiple angles. The only way Victoria walks is if she can convince a jury that she was the victim of an elaborate setup. And Lily? They're going to try to establish that she was coached, that her statements were rehearsed, that the card, the crime, the speech at the portrait, all of it was orchestrated by you. She's 8. I know. She made that card herself. She spent 3 hours on it. She didn't know anything about the company or Victoria or any of it. I know, Marcus, but a jury doesn't know your daughter. They only know what they see in that courtroom. and if Victoria's lawyers can create even a sliver of doubt. Marcus closed his eyes.
What are our options?
We can file a motion to exclude her testimony, argue that she's too young, that it would cause undue psychological harm, that her testimony isn't essential since we have video evidence of everything. Will it work? Robert was quiet for a moment. I'll be honest with you. Probably not. The judge is sympathetic, but he's also committed to giving Victoria a fair trial, and her defense has a constitutional right to confront witnesses. So Lily has to testify, unless Victoria pleads out before the trial starts. Will she? Not a chance. She's facing 40 years. She's got nothing to lose by fighting. Marcus stared at the subpoena on his desk. Then we prepare her. We make sure she's ready for whatever they throw at her. Marcus, I have to warn you. Warn me about what? Victoria's lead attorney, Catherine Price. She's one of the best defense lawyers in the country, and she's known for aggressive cross-examinations. What does that mean? It means she's going to try to break your daughter on the stand. That night, Marcus told Lily about the trial. He'd thought about waiting, about finding the right moment, about consulting child psychologists and communication experts, and everyone who might know how to deliver devastating news to an 8-year-old. But Lily had always hated being protected from the truth. Sarah used to say she had a built-in lie detector. She always knew when adults were hiding something. So Marcus sat her down after dinner and told her everything. The mean lady's trial is coming up, he said. The lawyers want you to come and tell the judge what happened that night. Lily's face was serious. In a real courtroom? Like on TV? Yes. With a judge in a black dress? It's called a robe, but yes. And I have to talk in front of everybody? Yes.
Lily thought about this. Will the mean lady be there?
Yes. Will she be mean to me again? Marcus took his daughter's hands. Her lawyer might ask you hard questions, try to confuse you, try to make you feel bad about what you said that night. But I didn't say anything bad. I know, sweetheart, but sometimes lawyers try to twist words, make things seem different than they were. That's lying. It's complicated. It sounds like lying. Marcus couldn't argue with that. The important thing is that you tell the truth. No matter what they ask, no matter how scary it gets, you just tell the truth. I always tell the truth. I know you do. Lily was quiet for a moment. Then she looked up at Marcus with Sarah's eyes, Sarah's determination. Daddy, I'm not scared. You're not? No, because I didn't do anything wrong. The mean lady did wrong things. I just tried to give the kids a card. She squared her small shoulders. If the judge wants to know what happened, I'll tell him. And if the mean lady's lawyer tries to twist my words, I'll untwist them. Marcus stared at his daughter. When did you get so brave? I've always been brave. You were just too busy making burned pancakes to notice. He laughed, despite everything. You keep using that line. Because it's true. The weeks before the trial were chaos. Robert Hawthorne brought in a team of lawyers to prepare Lily's testimony. They practiced questions and answers. They ran mock cross-examinations. They taught her tricks for staying calm under pressure. Lily took it all in with a seriousness that broke Marcus's heart. Remember, one of the lawyers told her, if you don't understand a question, say so. Don't guess. Don't assume. Just say, I don't understand, and ask them to explain. Okay. And if you don't remember something, that's okay too. Say, I don't remember. Don't make things up. I never make things up. I know, sweetie, but sometimes when people are nervous, they try to fill in gaps. Just stick to what you actually remember. I remember everything about that night, Lily said quietly. I remember the mean lady's face. I remember how my card felt when it ripped. I remember Daddy's hands bleeding. I remember all of it. The lawyers exchanged glances. That's good, Lily. That's very good.
The night before the trial started, Marcus found Lily sitting on her bed, holding the photo album again. "Can't sleep?" he asked.
I'm talking to Mommy. Marcus sat beside her.
"What are you telling her?"
That I'm going to be brave tomorrow. That I'm going to tell the truth. That I'm going to make her proud. She's already proud of you, sweetheart. I know, but I want to make her extra proud. Lily traced her finger over Sarah's face in one of the photos.
Daddy, do you think Mommy can see us? Like, really see us?
I don't know for sure, but I believe she can.
Me too.
Lily closed the album.
She's going to be in the courtroom with me. I can feel it.
She'll always be with you, Lily, no matter where you go.
I know.
Lily yawned.
Daddy, can you stay until I fall asleep?
Of course. He lay beside her on the small bed, the same way he'd done when she was a baby, when Sarah was still alive, when the world made sense.
Lily fell asleep within minutes. Marcus stayed awake for hours, watching his daughter breathe, praying to whatever God might be listening that tomorrow wouldn't break her.
The federal courthouse was a circus. Media trucks lined the streets. Reporters shouted questions from behind barricades. Protesters held signs, some supporting Marcus, some demanding justice for Victoria, some just wanting to be seen. Marcus held Lily's hand as they walked up the courthouse steps.
"Don't look at them," he said. "Just look straight ahead."
There are so many people, Daddy.
I know.
Are they all here for the mean lady's trial?
Yes.
That's a lot of people who care about what happened.
That's because what happened mattered. Inside, the courthouse was quieter, but no less tense. Security checked them 3 times. Officials guided them through metal detectors and scanners and endless corridors until they finally reached the courtroom.
Marcus had been in plenty of courtrooms over his career. Depositions, contract disputes, the usual business litigation. But he'd never seen anything like this. The gallery was packed. Every seat filled. People standing along the walls. The prosecution table was crowded with lawyers and assistants. The defense table held Victoria Chen and her team. Marcus saw Victoria for the first time since the gala. She looked different, smaller somehow. The designer gowns were gone, replaced by a conservative navy suit. The diamond earrings were gone. The arrogant posture was gone. But her eyes were the same, cold, calculating, defiant. She saw Marcus and Lily enter. Her lips curved into something that might have been a smile. Marcus felt Lily's hand tighten around his.
Daddy, she's looking at me.
Don't look back. Just keep walking. They took their seats behind the prosecution. Robert Hawthorne was already there, organizing papers.
"How is she?" Robert asked quietly.
"Ready," Marcus said. "As ready as she can be."
"Good, because they moved up her testimony. She's on this afternoon."
"What?" "The defense requested it, said they wanted to address the key witness early to establish their narrative." "That's not what we prepared for."
"I know, but the judge approved it."
Robert looked at Lily.
"Can she handle it?"
Marcus looked at his daughter.
She was staring straight ahead, her jaw set, her eyes clear. She can handle anything.
The morning session was procedural. Opening statements, legal motions, the kind of technical maneuvering that put half the gallery to sleep. But Marcus watched Catherine Price, Victoria's lead attorney, and felt a chill run down his spine. She was tall, severe, with gray hair pulled back tight and eyes that missed nothing. She spoke in measured tones, each word precisely chosen. And when she talked about Lily, she used phrases like unreliable witness and coached testimony and emotional manipulation. The prosecution wants you to believe that an 8-year-old child spontaneously delivered a series of perfectly calibrated statements
that just happened to go viral and just happened to destroy my client's career," Price said in her opening. "They want you to believe it was all coincidence, all innocent, all genuine." She paused dramatically. "We intend to prove otherwise." Lunch was brutal. Lily barely touched her food. Marcus couldn't blame her. His own stomach was in knots. "Daddy, what did she mean about my statements being calibrated?" "She's trying to make the jury think you were acting, that I told you what to say." "But you didn't." "I know." "So she's lying." "She's doing her job, trying to create doubt." Lily stabbed a French fry with her fork. "I don't like her." "You don't have to like her. You just have to answer her questions honestly. What if she asks me something mean? Then you answer it honestly anyway. And remember, I'll be right there, the whole time, looking at you. Promise?" "I promise." At 2:15 p.m., Lily Cole was called to the witness stand. Marcus watched his daughter walk up the aisle, past the gallery, past the lawyers, past Victoria Chen, who tracked her every step with those cold eyes. Lily climbed into the witness chair. It was too big for her. Her feet dangled above the floor. Someone brought a small stool so she could rest them. The judge, an older man with kind eyes and a gruff voice, leaned down to address her. "Hello, Lily. Do you know why you're here today?" "Yes, sir. To tell the truth about what happened." "That's right. And do you understand what it means to tell the truth?" "It means saying what really happened, not making things up." "Very good." The judge straightened. "Ms. Price, you may proceed with your cross-examination." Catherine Price rose from the defense table. She approached Lily slowly, like a predator circling prey. "Hello, Lily. My name is Catherine. Can I call you Lily?" "Yes." "Thank you. Now, Lily, I want to talk about the night of the gala. The night you came to the Lakefront Grand Hotel. Can you tell me why you went there?" "To give the kids a card." "A card you made yourself?" "Yes." "When did you make this card?" "That afternoon, before we went to the party." "And whose idea was it to make the card?" Lily paused. "Mine." "Your idea? No one suggested it to you?" "No." "Your father didn't tell you to make a card?" "No." "He didn't say something like, 'Lily, wouldn't it be nice if you made a card for the charity children?'" "No. I just wanted to make one." "I see." Price paced slowly. "And this card, it had glitter on it?" "Yes." "And crayon drawings?" "Yes, and it said, 'We believe in you'?" "It said lots of things." "But those were the words you spoke at the press conference. 'We believe in you.' How did you remember exactly what the card said if it was destroyed?" Lily's brow furrowed. "Because I wrote it. I remember what I write." "You have a very good memory?" "Yes." "Good enough to remember exactly what you said at the gala? Exactly what you said at your mother's portrait?" "I remember what I felt. The words just came out." "They just came out? Like magic? Like feelings? When you feel something really strong, the words come." Price smiled thinly. "Lily, have you ever practiced a speech before? For school, maybe?" "Sometimes. For presentations." "And when you practice, do you memorize what you're going to say?" "Sometimes." "So you know how to memorize things?" "I guess." "Did you memorize what you were going to say at the gala?" "No." "At the press conference?" "No." "You didn't practice in front of a mirror? Your father didn't help you come up with the words?" "No." Lily's voice was getting smaller. "I just said what I felt." "What you felt." Price let the words hang in the air. Lily, I want to show you something. She picked up a remote and pointed it at a screen. The video that played was from the gala. The moment Lily stood at her mother's portrait and spoke.
Hi, Mommy. I tried to bring the card. The mean lady broke it.
Price paused the video. Lily, do you see how you're standing in this video?
Yes?
Your hands are clasped in front of you. Your chin is up. Your voice is clear. Price circled the frozen image. Does this look like a little girl who's grieving and confused? Or does this look like a little girl who's been taught how to perform? Objection! The prosecutor shot to his feet. Counsel is badgering the witness. Sustained. The judge's voice was sharp. Miss Price, the witness is 8 years old. Approach with appropriate care. Of course, Your Honor. Price turned back to Lily. I'll rephrase. Lily, had anyone ever taught you how to stand when speaking to a crowd?
My mommy?
The answer seemed to catch Price off guard. Your mother?
She said when you're scared, you should stand up straight and put your shoulders back. It makes you feel braver.
Lily's voice steadied.
I was really scared that night, but I remembered what Mommy said,
so I stood up straight. Your mother taught you that?
Yes, before she got sick. She taught me lots of things. Price paused, recalibrated. Lily, let's talk about your mother. She ran the foundation, correct? The mean lady's lawyer is objecting to me talking about my mommy? A ripple of laughter went through the gallery. No, Price caught herself. I'm asking about your mother's role in the foundation. She started it. She wanted to help kids who didn't have books.
And your father? He owns the company that funds the foundation?
I guess. I don't really understand the business stuff. But you knew, that night at the gala, that your father was important? He's my daddy. He's always important. More laughter. Even the judge smiled. Price's jaw tightened. Lily, when you arrived at the hotel that night, did you know your father owned Cole Enterprises?
No.
You didn't know he was the founder?
No.
He never told you? He told me after, when the mean lady was being mean. So you're saying you had no idea your father was one of the wealthiest men in Chicago? Lily looked confused. Daddy doesn't seem rich. We live in a regular house. He drives a regular car. He makes regular pancakes. Regular pancakes? They're kind of burned, actually. The gallery laughed again. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. Lily, Price was losing her rhythm. Let me ask you directly. Did your father tell you to cry that night?
No.
Did he tell you to talk to your mother's portrait? No. Did he tell you what to say at the press conference? No. Then how do you explain the fact that everything you said, every single word, seemed perfectly designed to maximize sympathy and destroy my client's reputation? Lily stared at Catherine Price. The courtroom went silent. Because, Lily said slowly, my mommy died, and the mean lady broke my card, and I was really, really sad. Her voice cracked.
I didn't plan anything. I just missed my mommy. I wanted to tell her I was sorry I couldn't give the kids the card. I wanted her to know I tried.
Tears streamed down Lily's face.
And when I talked at the press conference, I was thinking about all the kids like me, kids whose mommies went to heaven, kids who feel invisible. I wanted them to know someone sees them.
She wiped her eyes with the back of her hand.
I'm sorry my words were good. I didn't mean for them to be good.
I just meant for them to be true. The courtroom was absolutely silent. Catherine Price stood frozen, clearly unsure how to proceed. No further questions, she said finally. The judge dismissed Lily from the stand. Marcus met her at the gate. She ran into his arms, sobbing. Did I do okay, Daddy? Did I tell the truth good enough? You did perfect, sweetheart. Marcus held her tight, not caring that the entire courtroom was watching, not caring that cameras were forbidden, but memories weren't. You did absolutely perfect. Behind them, in the defendant's seat, Victoria Chen sat motionless. But for just a moment, just a fraction of a second, something flickered across her face. Something that might have been shame. The trial continued for 3 more weeks. Witness after witness took the stand. Financial experts, former employees, board members who'd watched Victoria dismantle the foundation piece by piece. The evidence was overwhelming. Bank records showing transfers to offshore accounts. Emails discussing how to restructure programs that served poor children. Memos calculating exactly how much could be siphoned before anyone noticed. Victoria took the stand in her own defense. She was polished, controlled, articulate. She spoke about the pressures of running a major corporation, about making difficult decisions for the good of the company, about being misunderstood by people who didn't understand business. She even cried. But when the prosecutor asked her about that night, about shoving Marcus, about destroying Lily's card, about calling them trash, her mask slipped. They didn't belong there. Didn't belong? Look at them. Look at how they were dressed. How was I supposed to know? How were you supposed to know what, Ms. Chen? Victoria's jaw tightened. How was I supposed to know he owned the company? Is that the relevant question? Whether he owned the company? Or is the relevant question whether you should treat any human being the way you treated him? I was protecting the event. You were protecting yourself, your image, your power. The prosecutor stepped closer. And when you saw a man in a cheap suit and a little girl with a homemade card, you saw an opportunity. An opportunity to feel superior. An opportunity to remind everyone who was in charge. That's not, isn't it? You didn't just ask them to leave, Miss Chen. You shoved a grieving widower. You destroyed a child's card. You ground your heel into something an 8-year-old made for dying children. Victoria's face contorted. She was in my way. The courtroom gasped. She was in your way, the prosecutor repeated slowly. An 8-year-old orphan trying to honor her dead mother's memory. She was in your way. Victoria realized what she'd said, tried to backtrack. I didn't mean... No further questions. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Marcus sat with Lily in a waiting room, surrounded by lawyers and supporters, and people who'd become friends over the past months of trial. Daddy, what if they say she didn't do it? Then we accept it and move on. But she did do it. We all saw her. I know, sweetheart. But sometimes the law is complicated. The law shouldn't be complicated about right and wrong. Marcus pulled her close. No, it shouldn't. At 4:47 p.m., the jury returned. The courtroom was silent as the foreman stood. On the count of assault in the 3rd degree, we find the defendant guilty. On the count of wire fraud, we find the defendant guilty. On the count of money laundering, we find the defendant guilty. Count after count. Guilty. 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 Victoria Chen sat motionless as her life collapsed around her. When the final verdict was read, guilty on all 47 counts, she didn't cry, didn't scream, didn't react at all. She just stared straight ahead, as if she'd always known this was how it would end. Marcus felt Lily squeeze his hand. Daddy? Yes, sweetheart? Is it over? Marcus looked at Victoria Chen, at the woman who'd stolen his wife's legacy, at the woman who'd hurt his daughter, at the woman who'd built an empire of cruelty and finally watched it crumble. Yes, he said, it's over. But even as he said it, he knew that wasn't quite true. The trial was over, but the real work, the work of rebuilding, of healing,
of turning tragedy into something meaningful. That was just beginning. Sentencing came 6 weeks later. Marcus sat in the front row of the courtroom, Lily beside him, as Judge Harrison delivered Victoria Chen's fate. Ms. Chen, you have been found guilty of 47 federal charges. You betrayed the trust of a grieving family. You stole from children who had nothing. You turned a memorial for a dying woman into your personal piggy bank. Victoria stood motionless, her attorneys flanking her like pallbearers. I have considered the defense's request for leniency. I have reviewed your background, your accomplishments, your letters of support. The judge paused. And I have watched the videos from that night. Watched you shove a widower to the ground. Watched you destroy a child's card. Watched you sneer at people you considered beneath you. His voice hardened. You showed no mercy, Ms. Chen. You will receive none. This court sentences you to 32 years in federal prison. You will be required to pay full restitution of $89 million to the Cole Foundation. You will be barred from serving as an officer or director of any charitable organization for life. Victoria swayed slightly. Do you have anything to say before this sentence is imposed? For a long moment, Victoria said nothing. Then she turned, looked directly at Marcus, directly at Lily. I'm sorry. 2 words, barely audible. Marcus didn't respond, but Lily did. I don't forgive you, she said, her small voice carrying in the silent courtroom. But I hope you learn to be better. My mommy said everyone can learn to be better. Even people who do really bad things. Victoria's face crumpled. For the first time since the trial began, she looked human. The marshals led her away. Marcus watched her go, feeling nothing but emptiness where rage used to live. Daddy? Lily tugged his hand. Can we go home now? Yes, sweetheart. We can go home. They walked out of the courthouse together. The cameras were waiting, the reporters, the crowds. But this time, Marcus didn't hurry past them. He stopped at the top of the steps, Lily's hand in his, and addressed them directly. Today, justice was served. Not because Victoria Chen is going to prison, but because the truth finally came out. He looked down at Lily. My daughter taught me something important over the past year. She taught me that being brave doesn't mean being unafraid. It means doing the right thing even when you're terrified. It means standing up for people who can't stand up for themselves. It means believing that the world can be better, even when it seems broken beyond repair. He squeezed Lily's hand. Sarah Cole, my wife, Lily's mother, spent her life believing in children, believing that every kid deserves a chance, believing that compassion is stronger than cruelty. His voice cracked. Victoria Chen tried to destroy that belief. She stole the money. She gutted the programs. She thought she'd won. Marcus smiled. She was wrong. The crowd erupted in applause. 1 year later, the Lily Cole Foundation held its first annual gala. Not at the Lakefront Grand Hotel. That venue held too many memories, too much pain. Instead, they chose a community center on the south side, the same neighborhood where Sarah had grown up, where she'd learned what it meant to have nothing and dream of everything. Marcus stood at the entrance, greeting guests as they arrived. Not billionaires this time, not socialites or celebrities, or people who wrote checks to impress each other. Families, teachers, social workers, children who'd been helped by the foundation, and their parents who'd scraped together enough to attend. This was who Sarah had wanted to serve. This was who they would always serve. Mr. Cole! Marcus turned to find Jerome, the security guard from that night, approaching with his wife and 2 kids. Jerome, you made it. Wouldn't miss it, sir. Jerome shook his hand firmly. I want you to meet my family. This is Angela, and these are my boys, Marcus and David. Marcus raised an eyebrow. You named your son after me? Jerome grinned. Born 3 months after the trial. Seemed fitting. I'm honored. You changed my life, Mr. Cole. After that night, after you stood up for what was right, I realized I'd been too scared for too long. Scared of losing my job, scared of speaking up, scared of doing the right thing. What did you do? Went back to school, got my degree. I'm a social worker now. Jerome's voice swelled with pride. Working with kids in foster care, helping them find families. That's incredible, Jerome. It's because of you and Lily. Jerome looked around. Where is she, anyway? Marcus pointed toward the stage, where a small figure was directing a group of volunteers with the authority of a general. Running the show, as usual. Lily had turned 9 2 months ago. She was taller now, more confident, still wore her mother's eyes and her mother's smile, but she developed her own way of moving through the world, a combination of Sarah's compassion and Marcus's determination that made her unlike anyone else. Lily, Marcus called out, come say hello to Jerome. Lily bounded over, her dress slightly askew, glitter somehow already in her hair, despite the event not starting for another hour. Mr. Jerome, she hugged him without hesitation.
Did you bring your boys? I want to show them the reading room. We got so many new books. They'd love that.
Lily grabbed the 2 boys' hands and dragged them off toward the children's area, chattering about her favorite stories the entire way. Jerome watched them go, shaking his head.
That girl is something special, Mr. Cole.
I know.
No, I mean...
Jerome paused, searching for words.
That night at the hotel, when Ms.
Chen was screaming at you, when security was closing in, your daughter stepped in front of me. An 8-year-old. Stepped right in front of a grown man twice her size and said, "Don't touch my daddy." Marcus remembered. I've thought about that moment 1,000 times, Jerome continued. 1,000 times I've wondered what makes a kid that brave. And I finally figured it out.
What?
Love. Pure, simple love. She wasn't thinking about herself. Wasn't thinking about danger. She was thinking about you. About protecting someone she loved. Jerome met Marcus's eyes. That's the rarest thing in the world, Mr. Cole. And you raised it. Marcus couldn't speak. Anyway, Jerome cleared his throat, I just wanted you to know. What your family did, it mattered. To me. To a lot of people. Thank you, Jerome. No, sir. Thank you. The gala began at 7. No $5,000 plates this time. No exclusive guest lists. No hierarchy of importance based on net worth. Just people, coming together, celebrating what they'd built from the ashes of betrayal. Marcus took the stage to welcome everyone. 1 year ago, my daughter and I stood outside a hotel, being told we didn't belong, that we weren't good enough, that people like us had no place at events like this. He looked out at the crowd. Look around you. This is what people like us can do. The community center was transformed. Thousands of books lined the walls. Donations from publishers, libraries, families who wanted to help. Screens displayed photos of children the foundation had served. Tables held information about every program they'd launched. And everywhere, there was light. The Lily Cole Foundation served over 50,000 children this year. We opened 12 new learning centers. We funded 300 scholarships. We provided emergency support to over 2,000 families dealing with illness and loss. Applause rippled through the room. But I'm not going to stand here and talk about numbers. Numbers don't tell the whole story. Marcus gestured toward the audience. Maria Gonzalez, please stand up. A woman in her 30s rose hesitantly. Maria's son, Carlos, was diagnosed with leukemia last year.
Her husband had to quit his job to care for him. They lost their house, lost their savings.
Lost everything. Maria's eyes filled with tears.
Lily's Light, our program for families dealing with serious illness, stepped in. We paid their rent for 6 months. We covered Carlos's medical expenses. We provided tutoring so he wouldn't fall behind in school. Marcus smiled at Maria. Carlos is in remission now. He's back in school. And last month, Maria told me something I'll never forget. He turned to the crowd. She said, "For the first time since the diagnosis, I feel like we're going to be okay. Not because the cancer is gone, but because we're not alone anymore." Maria sat down, wiping her eyes. That's what this foundation does. We don't just provide services. We provide hope. We remind people that they're not invisible, that someone sees them, that someone cares. Marcus paused. My wife understood that. Sarah knew that the worst part of suffering isn't the pain itself. It's the loneliness.
The feeling that nobody notices. Nobody helps. Nobody cares enough to show up. His voice broke. She spent her whole life showing up. For strangers. For children she'd never meet. For families who had nobody else. He looked at Sarah's portrait, which hung prominently on the stage. I miss her every single day. Every morning when I wake up. Every night when I go to sleep. Every moment in between. The room was silent. But I don't feel alone anymore, because I see her everywhere. In the children we help, in the families we support, in the community we've built. He looked at Lily, who sat in the front row, watching him with shining eyes, and especially in our daughter, who has more of her mother in her than she'll ever know. Marcus took a breath. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the heart and soul of this foundation, my daughter, Lily Cole. Lily walked to the stage with the confidence of someone 3 times her age. She'd practiced this speech. Marcus had helped her, going over the words again and again until they flowed naturally. But he also knew that Lily had a tendency to go off script when something felt right. Hi, everyone, Lily said into the microphone. I'm Lily. I'm 9 years old. And I have a confession to make. She looked at Marcus. I'm really nervous. Laughter rippled through the crowd. My daddy says that's okay. He says being nervous means you care about something. And I care about this a lot. She turned back to the audience. A year ago, I made a card. It was for kids who didn't have books. I spent 3 hours on it. I used every crayon in the box and probably too much glitter. More laughter. I made that card because my mommy asked me to. Before she died, she told me I was big enough to help now. She said the kids needed someone to believe in them. Lily's voice steadied. That night at the hotel, a mean lady broke my card. She stepped on it, ruined it. I thought that was the worst thing that would ever happen to me. She paused. I was wrong. The room went quiet. The worst thing that ever happened to me was losing my mommy, watching her get sicker and sicker, knowing she wasn't going to get better no matter how many times I wished on stars. Lily wiped her eyes. But something my mommy taught me, something I didn't understand until after she was gone, is that the worst things can become the best things. Not because they stop hurting. They never stop hurting. But because they teach you what really matters. She looked at the audience. The mean lady broke my card, but she couldn't break what the card meant. She couldn't break the love I put into it. She couldn't break the promise I made to my mommy. Lily's voice grew stronger. And she couldn't break all of you. The people who showed up, the people who donated, the people who volunteered and mentored and tutored and cared. She spread her arms wide. Look at what we built. Look at all these books. Look at all these people. Look at what happens when you take something broken and decide to make it beautiful instead.
The crowd was crying. Marcus was crying. Even the catering staff in the back were crying.
My mommy's not here anymore. I miss her so much it hurts to breathe sometimes. But when I look at this foundation, when I see the kids we've helped, the families we've supported, the lives we've changed, I feel her.
Lily placed her hand over her heart. She's right here, in everything we do, in everyone we help, in every single person who chose hope over hate. She looked directly at the audience. That's what I want you to remember. Not the trial, not the mean lady, not the bad stuff that had to happen before the good stuff could begin. She smiled. Sarah's smile, exactly. I want you to remember that broken things can be fixed, that invisible people can be seen. That one little girl with a glitter card can change the world. She paused. If I can do it, so can you. The applause was thunderous. People stood, cheered, cried, hugged each other like they'd survived something together. Because they had. Lily ran off the stage and into Marcus's arms.
Did I do okay, Daddy?
You did amazing, sweetheart.
I went off script a little.
The best parts were off script.
That's what Mommy always said about life.
Lily looked up at him. The best parts are the ones you don't plan. Marcus held his daughter close, surrounded by light and love and the legacy of a woman who'd believed the world could be better. Sarah had been right. It could be. After the gala, Marcus and Lily sat alone in the empty community center. The volunteers had gone home. The guests had left. The caterers had packed up. All that remained were the two of them, surrounded by thousands of books and the lingering warmth of everything they'd created.
Daddy?
Yes, sweetheart?
Do you think Mommy saw tonight?
Marcus looked at Sarah's portrait, still lit by a single spotlight. I think she saw every moment.
I talked to her earlier, before my speech.
What did you say?
I told her I was scared, and she told me to stand up straight and put my shoulders back.
Marcus's throat tightened. She did?
In my head, like she always does.
Lily leaned against him.
Is that crazy, that I still hear her?
No, sweetheart.
That's not crazy at all.
Sometimes I worry I'll forget her voice, like the real voice, not the one in my head.
You won't forget.
How do you know? Marcus thought about it, about the way grief worked, about how loss shaped you, changed you, became part of you in ways you never expected. Because love doesn't forget, he said finally. The details might fade, the specific words, the exact sounds, but the feeling, the way someone made you feel when they loved you, that stays forever.
Lily considered this.
I feel warm when I think about Mommy, like she's hugging me from far away.
That's her love. It doesn't go away just because she's not here.
So she's still with us?
Always. Lily was quiet for a moment.
Daddy, can I tell you a secret?
Of course.
Sometimes I'm glad the mean lady broke my card.
Marcus looked at his daughter in surprise. What?
Not glad she was mean. That part was bad. But glad it happened.
Because if it didn't, none of this would exist.
Lily gestured at the community center, the books, the photos of children they'd helped. All these kids wouldn't have been helped. All these people wouldn't have come together. She looked at Marcus.
It's like you said. The worst things can become the best things. The mean lady did something terrible. But look what grew from it.
Marcus stared at his daughter. 9 years old. Orphaned. Forced to testify in a federal trial. Put through more than most people experienced in a lifetime. And somehow, she'd found a way to see the light.
When did you get so wise? He asked.
I've always been wise. You were just too busy making burned pancakes to notice. He laughed, pulled her into a hug. I love you, Lily.
I love you too, Daddy.
Your mommy would be so proud of you.
I know.
Lily smiled against his chest. She tells me every night.
They sat together in the empty community center as the last of the lights dimmed. Outside, the city hummed with life. Children were going to sleep. Parents were working late. Families were struggling and hoping and dreaming, just like they always had. And tomorrow, the Lily Cole Foundation would be there, ready to help, ready to serve, ready to remind every invisible person that someone saw them. Marcus looked at his daughter, this fierce, brave, impossible girl who'd lost everything and built it back better. Sarah's legacy. His legacy. But more than that, Lily's legacy. Her own. "Ready to go home?" he asked. Lily nodded, took his hand. They walked out of the community center together, into a night filled with stars and possibility. Behind them, Sarah Cole's portrait watched over the empty room, smiling down at the thousands of books that would reach thousands of children who would grow up knowing that someone believed in them. The card had been broken, but the promise had been kept. And that, in the end, was all that mattered. Marcus Cole walked into the darkness with his daughter's hand in his, finally at peace. Not because the pain was gone, but because he'd learned that pain and joy could exist together. That loss and love were two sides of the same coin. That the people we lose never really leave us. They just find new ways to stay. Lily looked up at the stars.
Daddy, do you think there's a star for Mommy up there?
Marcus followed her gaze. I think all of them are for Mommy. Lily smiled.
Then we'll never be in the dark.
They drove home through streets that Sarah had walked, past buildings that bore her name, into a future that she'd never see, but had somehow shaped anyway. The world was still broken, still cruel, still full of people like Victoria Chen, who would step on a child's card and call it business. But it was also full of people like Lily, people who stood up, people who spoke out, people who refused to let darkness win. And as long as those people existed, as long as one brave girl could change everything with a homemade card and an unbreakable spirit, there was hope. There was always hope. Marcus Cole had learned that from his wife. His daughter had taught him to believe it. And now, finally, he understood what Sarah had known all along. The light doesn't come from avoiding the darkness. It comes from walking straight through it, hand in hand with the people you love, refusing to let go. Lily fell asleep in the car, her head resting against the window, her face peaceful. Marcus drove in silence, one hand on the wheel, the other reaching back occasionally to touch his daughter's knee, just to make sure she was real. She was. She was the most real thing in his world. When they got home, he carried her to bed, tucked her in, kissed her forehead. "Good night, sweetheart."
Night, Daddy,
she mumbled, already half asleep.
Tell Mommy I said hi. I will.
Marcus stood in the doorway, watching his daughter breathe. Then he walked to the living room, to Sarah's portrait that hung above the fireplace. "She did amazing tonight," he said quietly. "You would have been so proud." He touched the frame.
"I miss you. Every day, every hour, every breath." His voice broke. "But I'm okay. We're okay. Because of you. Because of everything you taught us." He stepped back. "Thank you, Sarah, for loving me, for giving me Lily, for showing me what matters." He smiled through tears. "I'll see you in my dreams." Marcus Cole turned off the lights and walked to his bedroom. Outside, the stars burned bright. Inside, his daughter slept, safe and sound. And somewhere, everywhere, Sarah Cole watched over them both. Finally at rest, her legacy secure, her love eternal. The broken things had been made beautiful, the invisible had been seen, and the light, that fierce, stubborn, unquenchable light, would never go out.